Hello guys, Nat Blue here with a new video and a new short. I don't know if I like the short yet. If I'm being completely honest, the fabric is kind of weird. I don't know if I like how it looks. It is a button up. I am pairing it with a black short from Target, or as me and my friends call it, Target. Now, you might be wondering, why does he keep looking at the other screen? Guys, I'm really bad about looking at myself in OBS. But now that we are done, maybe talking about my short for too long, which brings up a point. Let me know if you like the short, please. That would be pretty sick of you. Like, if you do like my short, just leave a comment. I need that positivity in my life. If you don't like my short, keep it to yourself. Let's do that, actually. But I have done a video in the past about my first player character, Jeffrey. Now, Jeffrey was just a human fighter. He was my first foray into D&D. And he ended up being one of my favorite characters. Instead of doing a video on my second player character, which I don't know if I could even name at this point, I don't remember who my second one was. There were two characters that kind of coincided with one another. I decided to do a video on my least favorite player character, which introduces us to Cyrus. Cyrus, or I think his full name was like Cyrus Loukas, Loukas, was a Summer Eladrin, and he was a totem warrior barbarian. Now, why is Summer Eladrin, you might ask? I am a huge fan of the Feywild. I include at least an aspect of the Feywild in every single campaign, whether or not that's an Archfey, just some Fey enemies, a hag. I think all of my campaigns have had at least one hag, or just a whimsical location that might have a few fairies around or something. I like to include something about the Feywild in every campaign, and in most of my characters. A solid through line for my characters is they are associated with the Feywild now, like a lot of my characters are associated with the Feywild now, or they are associated with gnomes somehow. Those are the two connecting dots for a lot of my characters. I loved the idea of playing a character from the Feywild, and that is where the Summer Eladrin came in. Now, for anybody that might not know, an Eladrin is an elf from the Feywild, and they are normally themed along a season, or always themed around a season, I guess, but some people play them a little bit differently. Some people play Eladrin as changing seasons with their emotions. So maybe they are a spring Eladrin for a while, and then they get into a depressive slump and they become a winter Eladrin, or something along those lines. I think this is similar to how Emily Axford played an Eladrin in Not Another D&D podcast, where her emotions changed the type of Eladrin she was, to an extent. Now, other people play Eladrin as a defined character with a defined characteristic. That's how I played it. So I was a Summer Eladrin. Summer Eladrin are known to be a little aggressive, kind of violent. Like, they're the angry Eladrin. And they are associated with fire a little bit. This is the reason I picked the Summer Eladrin, was the fire. I wanted to be barbarian. We had a class full of characters that were a little squishy. We had, I think, a wizard, a sorcerer maybe, a druid. We didn't really have a tank for a character, or necessarily a melee character. It was mostly spellcasters. So I decided to be barbarian. And the Summer Eladrin fits barbarian pretty well because of their face step ability. Something I love about the Eladrin is they get specific phase step abilities depending on the season that they are depicting. So the Summer Eladrin gets to add fire damage to enemies around them when they phase step. And I thought that was a really sick ability, especially for a barbarian. So I picked that for Cyrus. Now this is where my problems started. I loved the Fey aspect of the Eladrin. I did not realize how much I would dislike being stuck into a personality trait. My problem with the way that I specifically played this Eladrin is that I did not give a lot of opportunity for character growth. He had to be angry. He had to be aggressive. He had to be violent. He was mean to the other characters. Nobody really liked him. And that's the way I wanted to play the character. I told everybody beforehand, I gave them a heads up, like, hey, this character might not be the most loved, and I completely understand if there's conflict among the player characters. Not necessarily among the players, but I wanted to outline that Cyrus wasn't going to be an enjoyable person to be around. I did not like that in the long run. After a few sessions, being mean to the other characters and being aggressive towards NPCs and stuff gets very tiring. So I didn't love playing a Summer Eladrin. And I understand now, looking back, there were other ways I could have done this, but getting locked into a specific personality type for this campaign kind of ruined the character. And then secondly, I didn't like playing a barbarian. It was kind of a class I was forced into anyway. I wanted to make sure that we had a strength character in our party. I wanted to make sure that we had a tanky character in our party that could take some hits. And I wanted to play an Eladrin, so I kind of mixed those together. I wanted to play a class that I hadn't played before, so I didn't pick fighter. I'm on my second fighter, or was on my second fighter. We're kind of paused on a campaign right now. And to me, Barbarian made the perfect sense there. And to me, Totem Warrior Barbarian made a lot of sense because they can take a lot of hits. A Totem Warrior gets to half pretty much all of their damage if they pick the Bear Totem. So I picked the Bear Totem. And I liked the idea of Cyrus, but I would not recommend putting yourself into a character that limits your character development. I enjoy playing a character that's going to change throughout the campaign. So I wouldn't play Cyrus again. I would change a few things. I would love to play an Eladrin that does change seasons, but it's a lot of legwork. You have to figure out what the spells list are for those Eladrin. You have to figure out what each base step ability does. It's a lot of legwork to just have that flexibility there. So instead, I think I would play different Fae race in the future. Even ones that might not be classified as Fae in the handbooks that they're a part of. Like the Harengon, I don't think are classified as Fae. I think they might still be classified as humanoids, but a Harengon would have been fun here. A Harengon Barbarian would have been fun here. But instead, I chose the Eladrin. I would personally not recommend an Eladrin unless you want to do that extra legwork or unless you want to play a static character. If you want your character to not evolve over time, I think it's a perfectly fine class. Or a perfectly fine race. Now, to talk a little bit more about Cyrus, he was orange and he had blonde hair and wore like furs across his chest and for like a loincloth. And he carried an axe with elvish runes carved into it. He was from the Feywild, from the Summer Court, and was able to. He just knew a lot of things from the Feywild. So he knew what blink dogs were. He was not a fan of the environment he was in. Cyrus was in Curse of Strahd. And a lot of you might know, the Shadowfell is a dark reflection of the material plane, while the Feywild is a lighter reflection, more whimsical reflection of the material plane. So the Shadowfell and the Feywild are on opposite ends of the spectrum. A lot of people from the Shadowfell don't like people from the Feywild and vice versa. To the Feywild, people from the Shadowfell are unnecessarily dark. And to the people in the Shadowfell, the Feywild can be too unserious. And Cyrus was an angry Fey. So I don't think he fit into Curse of Strahd very well. And that was kind of the point. I wanted a character that wasn't going to naturally fit into Curse of Strahd. I wanted there to be a little bit of conflict based on him being an Eladrin. What I didn't realize is it kind of made more conflict than I wanted. He was a little bit too hard-headed, and Cyrus died in Curse of Strahd. They were searching houses for loot, and Cyrus could not get the door open. My DM kept making me roll strength checks. I am a notoriously bad dice roller, and Cyrus jumped through a window because he could not get through a door. Inside of that room that he jumped into was a bunch of zombies. Now, as a veteran D&D player, somebody who's been doing this for a few years, I forgot about the disengage action. So Cyrus was in there surrounded by zombies, fighting for his life. He was too stubborn to yell for help. The rest of the party did not jump in with him. So Cyrus kept getting hit over and over again by zombies, until eventually Cyrus got downed. Now, another player eventually makes it to that broken window and sees all of these zombies in here with a dying Cyrus on the ground, and he cast Shatter. Now, to his credit, he did not want to cast Shatter, but it became apparent in that moment that if he were to bring Cyrus up, Cyrus would immediately go back down. The zombies were before him in initiative, Cyrus would go back down. So instead of taking that risk, he cast Shatter on the zombies. And that Shatter killed Cyrus. Now, I was totally fine with this. I don't mind character death in a campaign. It gives me an opportunity to try a new character. And in this situation, I was kind of happy about it, because I was kind of getting tired of playing as Cyrus. The party ended up burning the house down, and going through the rubble afterwards, Cyrus's body was not recovered. Now, I know that the DM was going to bring Cyrus back to life, but we quit Curse of Strahd a few sessions after that because of some scheduling conflicts. So I know what his plan was. He was going to bring Cyrus back to life. He was going to make us fight Cyrus. I know, because I would do the same thing. So I completely understand what my DM was thinking. This is a very undead-heavy campaign setting, so bringing Cyrus back to life would have made a lot of sense. But he died in that moment. I got to play as an Echo Knight after that, and I loved playing as an Echo Knight. That was really fun. I kind of wish I could go back to that character, and eventually we might go back to that character, but my DM wants to take a break and run Kids on Bikes for a bit, which I am super excited for Kids on Bikes. Hopefully we get to run those 4 sessions soon, and I'll be able to talk about it a little bit on this channel. But that is my video over Cyrus Loukas, my least favorite D&D character I've ever played, and a lesson to me as a D&D player about the kind of character I don't want to play. And that is one that is restricted in its character growth. I love character growth. If you guys have any comments about Cyrus, please leave them in the comment section. If you want to talk about your least favorite D&D character you've ever played, please leave a comment. If you just want to talk about Eladrin or Barbarian or anything that I talked about in this video, leave a comment. Just leave a comment, guys. It would be great. Other than that, if you did like this video, please like the video. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell to be notified when videos are released. And until next time, guys, peace.